Hey, I'm Cheshire from Cheshire Plays Games, and as you can see from the video title, we have an exclusive preview card thanks to puremtgo.com and of course Wizards of the Coast. Now, before we start, because there's rules and regulations, I have to advise you that I'm not being paid by Wizards to do this, and I'm not getting any free product to do this. This is purely Wizards supplying me with preview cards so I can show it off all to you lovely people, and it's going to be great. So hang on tight, and we'll get there in just a second, and we're going to go through a little bit of the article I've written for this as well. Battlebond looks exciting. Two-headed giant set, I'm all for it. Let's dive in. Alright, so let's get into it. Let's do a quick history of red burn decks. Why red burn decks? Well, you'll find out at the end of this video when I tell you what our exclusive preview card is. Burn Baby Burn is probably one of the most often overused lines in Magic the Gathering. Over the last 25-ish years, I know that I've used it far more than any player really should. Bolt the bird, burn, baby, burn. That's a long time to sling spells in any game. And although I've taken breaks, and I have taken my short breaks, Magic always pulls me back in every year or so for a nice long stint. One thing that never really seems to change for long, there's usually some sort of consistent red burn deck in almost every format for a period of time. So before we jump into the coolest, and yes, I'm calling it now, the coolest preview card of the season, let's dive into a quick history of the burn archetype and the red spells that shaped Magic throughout Magic's history, from the kitchen table to Pro Tours around the world. It all started with Paul Sligh and Jay Schneider. Sligh was a fast red deck with a low mana curve, sporting fast efficient creatures and enough burn to seal up a game in no time at all. The deck was first engineered and played at a Pro Tour qualifier in Atlanta in 1996. The deck placed an impressive second place, being beaten in the finals by a Necropotence deck. Combo decks, am I right? Sligh had never been seen before, and the deck sported a new concept that changed the face of Magic the Gathering forever. This is going to be a bit of a surprise. This was the first deck that sported a mana curve. That's right, the foundation for Magic, the mana curve. How crazy, right? I mean, people were just playing big, chunky, stupid creatures, big, chunky, stupid spells, but this actually focused on when it should be playing, why it should be playing, and how low it can be playing to the ground to burn out its opponent and stomp over them as fast as possible. This curve looked something like 1 mana slot, 9 to 13 spells, 2 mana slots, 6 to 8 spells, 3 mana slot, 3 to 5 spells, 4 mana slot, 1 to 3 spells, and the X-spell slot at 2 to 3. Removal and burn slot was between 8 and 10. Sligh utilised a suite of direct damage and removal that consisted of fan favourites such as Lightning Bolt, Incinerate and Fireball, with low-cost creatures to make quick work of all the slow and clunky decks at the time. It was such a successful archetype that it echoes through the ages, and even now you can find its grandchild in the standard format in the red burn decks like Ruminap Red. As an aside, Paul piloted the deck rather impressively, but it was Jay that built this concept for him and brought the design to the history books, forever changing the face of Magic. Insert Tempest. Tempest came along and changed the face of Sligh forever. By the time Tempest released, the face of Sligh had changed from a burn control deck to more of a blisteringly fast creature beatdown deck, Dead Guy Red. Because you were playing red, and the guy across the table from you was dead. It was Dead Guy Red. Sporting creatures such as Jackal Pup, Mog Fanatic, and artifacts such as Cursed Idol and Cursed Scroll, with the direct damage shifting to Kindle. The deck had moved to sporting less instant and sorcery based direct damage, but not for long, because in 2000 a new Sligh deck emerged, sporting Hammer of Bogarden, Shock, Incinerate and Fire Blast. This popped up and started burning down the house in spectacular displays of red mage fashion, hammering home the feeling that Sligh would be around for the remainder of MTG's history, and it is, no matter what it's called. But there is one card I've failed to cover here. I've left it out. I've left the decks out, and it's quite historic. One card that is a low-cost burn spell. It's a little slower than its Big Daddy Lightning Bolt, and you probably already know what it is now. But it's an extension of the formerly mentioned, making it copies 5 to 8 of Lightning Bolt, and it's still played in Legacy alongside Bolt in many red deck wins, and it's a mainstay of Pauper. Behold, Chain Lightning! Second only to its big daddy, Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning is efficiently costed and highly played and burn spell in both Legacy and Pauper alike. For a single red mana, you can send 3 at your opponent's dome at sorcery speed, or to a creature on the field, or even a planeswalker. The only real drawback here is that your opponent can pay 2 red mana and sling it back at your target as well, be it your creature, your face, your partner. Remember, a 2-headed giant, you have 2 opponents that share a single life pool. So slinging this at your opponent who can't fire back, or just waiting until they tap out so that they can't fire it back anyway, and then go for the burn. The thing with Limit is that you always have a good target for removal and direct damage. Chain Lightning will never be a waste. And there isn't a set yet where I wouldn't want to have a single mana removal in my pocket, just itching to bolt a bird or fry an elf or throw it at your opponent's face. I mean, they probably won't appreciate you actually physically throwing it at their face, but you know what I mean, like tap the red and bolt them. The last thing I want to mention here is that even though you can get Chain Lightning fairly cheap on Magic the Gathering Online, Magic Online, MTGO, in paper, even after the previous Masters reprint, you're still looking at around $5 or $6 to get a copy of this card in the flesh as a paper copy. A reprint of these kinds of old commons and uncommons is always welcome. I say commons and uncommons because in Legends it was a common, and then it was reprinted to uncommon because it's really good, but it's still really expensive. But also, it's a great removal spell with direct damage, gives you extra reach, it's just so much goodness. Battlebond's looking really good, and I'm so excited we got to bring you this preview card. Thank you again, Wizards of the Coast and PureMTGO.com. Go and visit PureMTGO.com, read my writing, because it's me, and read all of our other articles and stuff about all different formats of Magic. And remember, I am Cheshire from Cheshire Plays Games. Keep cracking packs, not for value, but for draft. See you at the tables.